Take a look at these. It's a bunch of colored lines, sharp angles, tiny dots, maps. But not of the world above, of the world underneath. A world built in steel, tunnels, and tiles. When these first appeared, they weren't just guides, they were promises. You can get anywhere in the city, faster, cheaper, and together. And behind every one of these maps, there is something that is the most interesting to me. A story about ambition, survival, and how cities became what they are today. Every city faces the same problem. There are many people and there's not enough space. So we try every possibility that is available to us. But it eventually boils down to two distinctive categories. First option being flexible systems, meaning buses, taxis, rickshaws, bicycles, etc. They're cheap, they're familiar, they're also very fragile. And when millions of people need to move every single day, that flexibility collapses into gridlock. So the alternative, fixed tracks or steel rails, if you will. A system that doesn't bend to the city but reshapes it. That is the metropolitan railways, or metros as we call them. It's a high capacity mass transport system with high frequency, meaning it can carry a way bigger population and you don't have to wait much, which is the best part for me at least. It's reliable, it doesn't care about rush hour traffic, it just moves and it moves millions. Now think about it, trains come every 3 to 10 minutes, you'll barely wait, and because the system is interconnected, you can reach almost anywhere in the city in reasonable time. It's cheap, it's fast, and it's efficient. On paper, it just sounds perfect. Except for one thing, actually using it. Because as the networks grew bigger, the maps grew messier. Suddenly it wasn't about knowing where to go, but also decoding a puzzle at the same time. And if you've ever stood in a station staring at the map and not understanding what's happening, you know the feeling. A sense of being lost, like you've walked into a maze with no exit. And if you're a Parisian, just imagine Châtelet and you'll get my point. But it wasn't always like this. In the beginning, it was simpler. And from those first tunnels, something much bigger began to take shape. It's January 10th, 1863, London. On this day, something remarkable happens. The world's first underground railway opens to the public. The Metropolitan Railway, if you will. Penny Illustrated paper publishes the image as an insight and states,
"The line commences at the terminus of the Great Western Railway at Paddington. It proceeds under portion of the South Wharf Road and Praed Street, crosses under Edgware Road, and leaves Chapel Street almost intact. It then runs under Marylebone and Euston Roads to King's Cross, the whole of which distance is underground. From King's Cross, a cutting has been made along Bagnigge Wells Road and Coppice Row, and its termination south is at Farringdon Street, where the principal station for the East End is situated."
It was a new artery beneath the city, linking west to east, under the very street Londoner walked every day. On the first journey, 600 invited guests boarded at Paddington. It's fascinating how these two trains carried them into the future they couldn't even imagine at this point of time. The very next morning, January 11th, it opened to the public. By 6 a.m., workmen were already rushing through the tunnels. By 8, it was overwhelmed. Not enough trains, not enough power. Complete chaos, if you will. Ventilation was a nightmare. The smoke and steam filled tunnels, choking passengers, people fainting, trains stalling. And yet, in the economic and stock market standpoint, it was a triumph. By the end of the first month, nearly 500,000 people had ridden the new underground metro. London had just cracked the code, and soon the idea was supposed to spread. Budapest 1896, the Millennium Underground, built for Hungary's 1000-year anniversary. But unlike London's smoke-choked tunnels, Budapest's system ran on electricity, a cut-and-cover line beneath the city's Grand Boulevard and Dressy Avenue. Its stations were shallow, lined with ironwork and ceramic tiles. Today, it's the UNESCO World Heritage Site, a piece of living history still in operation. Then comes Paris, 1900. The French capital unveils its metro. It was not just transport systems, it was a design statement, if you will. Ars Nouveau entrances with elegant typography, a style so iconic that still defines the city today. But on the other side of Atlantic, New York got its subway in 1904. A subway not for elegance but for scale. A system built for the city of immigrants, industry, and ambition. It would eventually become the largest metro of the world by the number of stations and also one of the most chaotic ones. It was overcrowded, it was full of confusion, especially when it came to navigating the system. Because these networks grew deeper, wider, and more complex, they became harder to understand. Passengers weren't just riding trains, they were entering into a maze, if you will. And soon the world would realize to truly navigate this underground machine, they need something more. Not just a map, but a new kind of map. As metro spread from London to Budapest to Paris, Berlin, New York, you name it, a new problem began to surface. The problem wasn't building trains anymore, it was using them. By the 1920s, the underground map of London had become a monster. Dozens of lines stretched like tangled spaghetti across the paper. A literal street map with colored squiggles draped on top. It was accurate but not convenient when it comes to comprehension. The transit system were plotted directly onto the street maps. Geographically accurate, yes, but visually overwhelming. And this was world's first navigation crisis under the Metropolitan Railway system. The train worked, the tunnels worked, but the system, the idea of it, was breaking down. And then in 1931, a man named Harry Beck sat down with a piece of paper. He wasn't a cartographer, he wasn't a city planner, he was an engineer draftsman, a man who drew electrical diagrams for a living. And his idea was radical. Forget geography, forget literal distances. What if metro maps wasn't a map at all? What if it was a diagram? He stripped the system down to its essence. Stations became nodes, line became wires, and city became the circuit board. It was clear, it was logical, and might I add, it was beautiful. When the London Underground first revealed his design in 1933, people were shocked. This wasn't a city, this was something else. Something modern, something futuristic, and suddenly it all made sense. For the first time, anyone could navigate the underground without panic. And Beck's innovation didn't stay in London. Like a wave, his logic washed across the world. Paris, Madrid, Tokyo, Moscow, New York, you name it. Each city reimagined the same idea, that clarity mattered more than geography. But here's the thing. The more these maps simplified the systems, the more invincible the system itself became. We stopped seeing metros as these marvels, we started treating them as given. We weren't just catching a train anymore, we were navigating a living, breathing machine. And that machine looked different everywhere. What makes a city grow? Is it the wealth, opportunity, or infrastructure? The truth is, it's all of the above. If you peel back the layers of any modern metropolis, you'll find something hidden beneath it all. Tracks. But now metros were no longer experiments, they were novelties. They had become something bigger. They were engines of growth, if you will. Think of New York, the city of ambition. The first subway line opened IRT line from City Hall to 145th Street. In the decades that followed, the subway would do something remarkable. It allowed Manhattan to go vertical, to build higher, to house more and move more. And more importantly, it let workers live further away, like in Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, all connected by fast, reliable mass transit. The subway here wasn't just transport, it was unseen skeleton holding the city together. Kenneth T. Jackson, historians once said, New York's subway made it possible for the city to grow in size, in complexity, and in power. Without the subway, Manhattan would have choked on its own density. With it, millions of workers could flow in and out every day, powering Wall Street, Broadway, industry, every single thing that you can think of. The subway wasn't just a machine, it was a multiplier. It turned time into money and money into growth. Seoul, on the other side, had a similar experience. In the 1970s, South Korea was still rebuilding after the war. The country was poor. They were developing and desperate to modernize. And then metros arrived. It started with one line, Metro Line 1, connecting the industrial city of Incheon to central Seoul. A symbolic move, more of a strategic one, I think. It connected newly developed residential areas like Nuwon and Songpa to economic zones, and it absorbed rural migration into the city and redistributed congestion. The result, South Korea leaped from poverty to prosperity in just a few decades, and the metro was the backbone of that miracle. Today it is one of the most largest and busiest systems in the world, with more than 8 million daily riders. The pattern is clear. Metros don't just carry people, they carry economies. They are the blood vessels of modern cities, moving workers, shoppers, students, tourists. And when they work, cities thrive. When they fail, cities bleed. Every metro is a promise, but not every city can keep that promise. Because building underground might also mean digging into history. I mean, quite literally. Thessaloniki and Athens. Two cities where every new tunnel is an archaeological dig. Here the ground isn't just soil, it's layers of civilization. At Venizelou station in Thessaloniki, a Roman-era road was discovered about 5.4 meters below ground. Authorities eventually dug tunnels as deep as 31 meters to preserve it, turning the station into an open-air archaeological museum, raising project costs over $3 billion and delaying opening until late 2024. In Athens, plans of Line 3 were retoured multiple times to avoid the Karamakis cemetery and Byzantine structure. One station required relocation entirely, and the construction delayed climbed into years. Costs have tripled. Sometimes the metro ends up serving two masters, commuters and tourists. Sometimes the challenge isn't history, it's geology. Jakarta, Indonesia. The city is sinking. 10 centimeters a year in some areas to be exact. The soil are soft and some areas now lie below sea level. How do you build a metro under a city that can't even hold itself up? The solution? Build upwards. The Jakarta metro runs partly above ground on pillars and viaducts because digging below is too dangerous and too costly. It works for now, but it also shows the metro aren't just about money and politics. They are about what lies beneath your feet. And then there's other problem, the developing world, if you will. The places that need metros the most are often the least able to build them. Cairo. Africa's first metro system was launched in 1978, but running a metro isn't cheap. And over time, Cairo's system slipped, maintenance lagged, and service declined. So Egypt turned to foreign operators. Today, France's RATP Dev manages Line 3 operations, revenue, staffing, and service standards under long-term contract. The metro has become a kind of public-private hybrid, part transport system, part business model. And then you have India. The Delhi metro is often held up as a miracle. Built with the help of JICA Japan, runs with ruthless efficiency and a source of national pride. Outside of Delhi, the story is more complicated. In cities like Kolkata, Lucknow, even Bangalore, projects face significant delays, legal challenges, and cost overruns. And in that process, the last mile connectivity, the link between your home to the station, often fails. Metros serve the middle class, where millions of poor residents remain locked in traffic outside the system. And that's the paradox. Metros are engines of growth, but they can also be a symbol of inequality. Who gets to ride and who doesn't? Who gets to stay behind? Today, more than 200 cities have metros, but hundreds more cities just as crowded, just as desperate, still don't. Their future is borrowed, their blueprints imported, their maps drawn in someone else's image.
Station Spijkenisse Centrum. Busstation.
The metro is not finished, it's evolving. If 20th century gave us the industrial metro, the workhorse of a modern city, then 21st century is giving us something different. A smarter machine, a cleaner one, and maybe a stranger one. Copenhagen. Here there are no drivers, and the weird part is, it's going on since 2002. The system is fully automated, controlled from a central hub. Trains glide with machine precision day after day. No drivers, no delay, just pure data. But the future isn't only about trains, it's about people. Because the bottleneck of any metro is the human being. Beijing, the busiest metro system in the world. Here, artificial intelligence doesn't just track trains, it tracks us. Yep, you heard me right, but hear me out. AI reads the movement of bodies. It predicts congestion before it happens. It tells you which carriage is emptier. It adjusts frequency in real time. The metro is no longer just carrying people, it's watching them, guiding them, and protecting them, if you will. And beneath all of this, another revolution breathes in: green motors. In Delhi, over 40% of powers comes from solar energies. In Santiago, the entire line runs on sun and wind. In Tokyo and Madrid, braking no longer wastes energy, it recycles it. Trains that stops actually recharges the grid. Paris is digging 200 kilometers of fully automated lines. Seoul is experimenting with delivery robots and lockers built into stations. And in Riyadh, the metro isn't just a metro, it's a spine of a new city. One where cars vanishes and stations double as civic plazas. This is what metro looks like when it dreams. Driverless, carbon neutral, and intelligent. But all of this raises one final question. For all the talks of automation, of solar power, of small tunnels, we often forget one thing: we need the metro more than ever before. In a world of swelling cities, crowded roads, and climate anxieties, it's not just a choice anymore, it is necessity. Our cities don't just grow on metros, they lean on them. Every single day, more than 160 million people step into the metro somewhere around the world. They don't think about it much, but they just move. But behind the movement is a promise that the system will be there, that the city will hold. And maybe that's the beauty of it. The metro is invisible until it's not. It's the hum beneath your feet, the mosaic tiles you pass every morning but you never stop to see. And sometimes when the train slows and the doors open, you feel it. That this thing that we built, it isn't engineering, it's a memory. So what does it all mean? It means the metro is no longer a marvel. It's a given, it's a rhythm, it's a lifeline. And maybe in some small way, that makes it even more profound. Because for all our futuristic dreams and smart city blueprints, we still stand on the shoulders of something quite brilliant. A story written in steel, told through tunnels and whispered between stops. And the best part is, it's still being written.